All right, so we are doing office hours. We started these at the beginning of distance education when COVID started, and we just wanted a way that we could share things that people were doing around the district that were making things easier for us surrounding distance education and distance learning. So just know that you can keep your own why in mind as we move through doing these office hours. As we look through anything in assistive technology, we think about the SETT framework, and that's S-E-T-T, standing for the student, keeping in mind their strengths, needs, and the whole person. Looking at the environments, those have changed now, whether you're at home, in school, in the community. Then the tasks that we're asking the student to do, some of those have changed drastically also. And then now we're overlaying the tools on top of that. So what are the tools that we want to be able to support that? Of course, we're always looking through an equity lens through which we're trying to ensure that every student gets exactly what it is that they need. Here's our brief agenda today. We'll have some sharing by our guest. We'll have time for questions and answers, but you can feel free to bring those questions into the chat window and I'll bring them to Sherry as we go along. At the end, I'll share very briefly some additional resources and a wrap up. So just to not take up any more of your time with my chatter, I'd like to introduce Sherry Walker. She is an ASD teacher in the Duluth Public Schools at Denfeld High School. And I'm going to hand over the microphone and the screen to Sherry so that she can tell us all about Jamboard, which is the interactive whiteboard in Google.
Hi, everybody. Like Julie said, I'm Sherry Walker, and I work here at Denfeld High School. I started using Jamboard as a way to work with a student in distance learning. It was a way to communicate with him. And you can find Jamboard here in your waffle. That's one way to get to Jamboard. And you just click on it and it will take you to something that looks very similar to like your Google Docs or your Google Slides. You click on this plus button in a brand new...
Sherry, we're not seeing your screen yet. Do you want to...
Oh, you can't see my screen. I'm sorry. I should probably present, huh? Sorry about that. I'll go back.
No worries. Thank you.
I'll go back to the beginning. All right, so just bring up a new tab. So go to your waffle button for your Jamboard, and it's in your waffle. You'll see, click on that Jamboard, and there's this little plus sign down here in the bottom. Everyone's seeing now, correct?
Yep, we're seeing it.
Okay, so just click on that, and a new Jamboard will come up. And this Jamboard is your interactive whiteboard that you can use during your Google Meets. You do not need to use this to get into it during your Google Meet. You can do that while you're in Google Meet. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. I'm just going to make this a little bigger here. If you go to your bottom bar and you use the ellipses here and click on that, up here, if you open a Jam, that's your whiteboard, and start a new whiteboard, it will pop up and everybody in your session will get access. And I'm going to give all of you access today. So I'm going to send you all a Jamboard, and you will be able to get access. I'm going to leave that up there. You'll be able to get access by clicking down here, and you can grab your Jamboard in your attachments where it says AT Office Hours. Click there and you will get the Jamboard.
Oop, and Sherry Walker just left the meeting for a moment. I'm sure she'll hop right back in here, but hopefully you guys are able to get into that Jamboard. On our end, usually it just shows up in that chat window and you can click that link and then it'll pop you right into there. And there's Sherry's back. Oh, but you're muted.
Sorry about that. I clicked on the wrong thing. So I'm back. Oh, but I bet I'm not presenting.
Yep, we'll just need you to share your screen again.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So I use the Jamboard for recording lessons. I use it in individual Google Meets. I use it for a bunch of different things. You have your tools over here on the left-hand side. You can make different backgrounds. So you have backgrounds that have dots for more like a math background. There's lines like on a piece of paper. You have graphs, and then there's a gray one, and then you have your two colors. Those are the only backgrounds you can get unless you bring one in like as in a picture. And you can bring in pictures. All of a sudden, I don't remember how to bring in a picture. You can write with a pen, and it comes in different colors. Like that. You can write with a marker. I tend to use the marker most often. There's a highlighter that looks like that. And then there is a paintbrush. This is your eraser tool. This is just a select button. This is a sticky note. And the students can't see you type on the sticky note, but they can see, they'll see it after you're done. So my word of the day, I guess, is hello. It comes in different colors. You can resize it. I've used it to cover up things that I've got on the Jamboard. You can duplicate them. I've taken and covered another sticky note up. So actually what I'd have to do is I'd have to make this one first and then cover that one up. So you'd have to be careful in the order.
Sherry, I think if you hit those three dots up in the right-hand corner of one of those, and then go to order, you can move something to the back or to the front.
You can. Okay, so I'll send it backward. Then I'll try to put, oh, there we go. Learned something new myself. So there. You can move the order around. Here's where you can add the image. You can do a Google image search. I use this a lot with my students, especially if I'm doing something on the fly and I need an image. This is great. You just click. It works a lot like Google Drive. I'm sorry, Google Slides. And you can put it wherever you want. This one I do know you can order. This is new this year. This used to be only in the app that was on your phones, but now you can draw shapes on here, and you can put fill. You can change the color. You can change the line color with it. Last year you couldn't do this. This is brand new. And then they also gave you a text box this year. The text boxes are a little tricky to use. After you start typing in them, they don't want to let you come out of them and go back in them. So they're nice to have, because if you can't write real well, it works. It's nicer. And then this is a laser pointer, so you can use that. And I'll just show you a few examples of things I have done with students. This one is I did with students on writing sentences. This is using the writing tool. And we just built up. My student didn't want to use the writing tool, so he used the text box. And this is, there were the Post-its over the top of this. He did this, and then I moved the Post-its. And that's how come it doesn't look like a real sentence. And then here's an example of using the Post-its. He did the different parts on the Post-its. And then we added pictures with this one and came up with a whole sentence on one Post-it. That we must have just been playing around with. Another one that was kind of fun. I'll show you this one. This is a pre-planned one that a colleague gave me permission to share. We played Would You Rather? And we did it as a choice board. So like, would you rather dance or sing? And then the student points or says the word. Would you rather drive a Jeep or a Mustang? A pizza, would you rather eat a pizza or a watermelon? And then it just goes on that way. Asking the students, kind of a good way to learn about your students, especially if they're nonverbal. And then I did another one that was just on the fly. This is one that's, it started out where we started writing sentences about pictures, and it wasn't going so well because the student is echolalic. So he just was repeating what I was saying. So I went to an on-the-fly version of Would You Rather. Would you rather eat a banana or would you rather eat the tree? And this is what we did. This had something to do about a school bus. And then we went old car, old pickup, new pickup, and then we got into conversation about where have you driven? And that led us to where would you like to drive? So it kind of became a conversation starter using the Jamboard. I've also used this to teach video lessons. In fact, I did this one last night on how to calculate a percent using gross pay and net pay. And I just did the lesson basically right here on the Jamboard, and it was just one page. I had all this set up ahead of time, and the students could watch me do do this part down here with the pencil, and then I added in the text box. And then I showed them how to do this, and I used the eraser a lot. So that's basically Jamboard in a nutshell. So any questions?
That's awesome, Sherry. That's a great introduction. Yeah, let's definitely open it up for questions. You can feel free to pick up the microphone or type it into the chat window.
Sherry, you said you use this to record lessons. Can you tell me the process of recording it? Is that something you just do through like Canvas, or is it something else?
Actually, I use the program Flipgrid Shorts, and then I load it up into Canvas. So Flipgrid Shorts is another recording tool that works a lot like Screencastify. And you load it up into Canvas that same way as Screencastify. Does that answer your question?
Cool. So basically you would have the jam on the screen and then
Yep.
and screen record it.
Yep.
Cool.
So like I would have this up, and then I don't know the address quite yet, but Flipgrid Shorts looks a lot like this. And you go to record a video. And then it looks like this. And you record your screen, and it will look like this. And when you go to record, you click share. And then you go to your Jamboard and it's recording. Then when you're done, you just go back here and you stop your recording. And then you go to your...
Sherry, that's a super good tip because that looked like it had a 10-minute limit. And I know like Screencastify, the free version is only 5 or maybe up to 7 minutes now. So that was a bonus tip for today.
Yes, and that's why I liked Flipgrid, is because it's 10 minutes and I can't get a lot of my lessons done in 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I wonder, Sherry, if it wouldn't be helpful now. I'm not seeing more questions in the chat window, but again, people feel free to interrupt me. Oh, I see Aurora's hand up. Go ahead, Aurora.
Yeah, hi. I just kind of a question more for the whole group. I'm just trying to figure out, I teach elementary interventions, and I feel like I kind of have the hang of teaching reading. It's pretty easy if you share your screen, and reading is already a flat surface activity. But math is a challenge, and I'm trying to figure out the best kind of like portal to use to teach math virtually. And I feel like Jamboard seems like the best way because in real life, I usually just use a lot of whiteboards and manipulatives, and that the manipulatives part is where I'm getting stuck. And so I think I figured out yesterday that if I let my student edit, like change their thing to be an editor, they can edit the Jamboard with me, because that's what I need to do, is be able to work together collaboratively on a Jamboard. So it's like I write the problem and then I want them to move the manipulatives to show me or whatever it is. But I'm just wondering if that has been successful for people, and if there's any other ways people have found to teach math where you can kind of collaborate with a student and work on the same screen together, if there's any other apps to do that.
So what I would do with the Jamboard, because I haven't found anything like that either. So what I would do with the Jamboard is I would just copy and paste like whatever I would want. I would just copy and paste whatever I wanted to use and make sure that they're an editor too. But just write my problems out ahead of time and do it that way on the Jamboard. That's what I do. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I copy and pasted like a little 10 stick into my Jamboard, but then, you know, it has like the whole text, like I want to be able to like crop it. So it's just the little 10 stick. So I don't know if anybody's figured out how to kind of edit the images a little bit in the Jamboard or if you have to do that somewhere else. Because like with the ones cubes, I can just make a little square and that's fine. But the tens,
Go to remove background.
oh, okay.
removebg.com, I think it is, and that'll take away your backgrounds.
What is
It'll
it?
make it. It's removebg.com, I
Okay.
believe, and that'll take away all your backgrounds, so that your whatever you want is transparent.
Oh, okay. That'd be awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's a great way of doing that. Yeah, and a good point too that, Sherry, I wonder if right now you didn't want to share out with us. You know how you shared with us a Jamboard, but I think that the one that you initially shared out, we only had viewing rights.
Oh,
Maybe if you want to share one with edit rights and people could play around in there a little bit. It'll get messy when we throw 25 people in there, but might be kind of fun just so people can see the options and what it would look like on the student end.
So I have a question. Is this something you would use just live with a student, or could I create a Jamboard in Jamboards and then put it on Seesaw and have the students be able to manipulate it on Seesaw, or do they have to work through it on Jamboards?
They can't make a copy of it, so if they work through it on Seesaw, they would move it around. So I don't know that I would use it that way. I would just.
Could you link to it from Seesaw rather than embedding it? Could you make it a link that would open in that app or extension?
Sure. Yeah. So I see what you're saying. So each kid that I would give it to would have to have their own copy in Google. So I'd have to like label their own copy, which is
Yeah.
Sarah, is
Yeah.
there a reason why you would choose Jamboard over just creating a lesson in Seesaw? Like, is there a tool in Jamboard that is specific that you're wanting? Because I feel like Seesaw has most the same things. If you were to create a lesson, I'm just curious because I am also figuring out which is going to work better for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the cover up. A few SLPs from our group have made kind of backgrounds with pictures of our tick words, and then they cover them up. And I guess you could do that in Seesaw too with a shape. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just learning all these different tricks and then figuring out which one is most suitable for my needs.
I know, because I feel like for me, Jamboard to me has the perk of being live, and that's the only reason I would use it, is to share a screen live and collaborate, whereas Seesaw would be, like an assignment that they could respond to and record and whatever in there. So I don't know.
So if
It would just be nice to have one activity to create that could reach all my kids, so I'm not duplicating multiple activities.
So if I'm at the high school level, because we use Canvas, if I'm creating an assignment, I'm using Google Slides or Google Docs. I prefer Google Slides because it's more, I can manipulate Google Slides more. But if I want to interact with a kid more, I'm using Jamboard. If that helps. And I'm sorry, I don't know much about Seesaw.
No, yeah, it does. It just, like I said, I was just looking for kind of that silver bullet where I can give it to them, stationary or live, and not have to create multiple activities for the same ending purpose.
I understand. Totally. If I find that, I'll let you know. I'm looking to.
That's what I was going to say. I think if people come up with those resources too, feel free to share them back with me and I can share them out with the whole group if you end up tomorrow finding something that's like, oh my gosh, I just solved that problem that they were talking about. So that's good. The other thing too is that I love how you guys are talking about the feature matching, right? In assistive technology, we talk about what are the features that we want that would meet the needs of that particular student. So it's a really good discussion.
You know, I wonder if Book Creator wouldn't do that.
Sherry's giving us a plug for another session she's going to do coming up in the near future.
Just
I just
because
want to
you
come
could,
to the fact that it's 12:28. So I think what
Yeah.
we'll do is we will wrap up. But I think that this conversation can definitely be continued, and we'll make sure that I'll hang around and make sure that we have some space to continue to have this conversation too. So I will do a super quick wrap up for those of you who don't have, who aren't able to stick around any longer, but just know that we know this is a really rich conversation and a really rich tool that I think can be used for a really wide range of things, but obviously has specific pluses and minuses too. So we just wanted to share a couple additional resources. That 11-minute video at the top is just an overview of Jamboard. You basically just got that from Sherry, but just in case you need a reminder. I also wanted to share out this Dial-A story. Vanessa Sepinen, who's an SLP in our district in Duluth Public Schools, shared this out with the group, and the Duluth Public Library is doing this Dial-A story, and you just call in and they read you a story. And there's all different levels, like there's chapter books and children's or picture books. So check that out. It's just over the phone. Pacer workshops, tons of good workshops going on through Pacer for both families and for educators, so check those out. And if you didn't see last week's office hours, they were ASD supports with Krista Sievertson. You can check them out on the Northland AT YouTube channel. Next week, we'll be talking with Sarah Giffen-Hunter from the Simon Technology Lending Library at Pacer. So you can register using that link there. Because in November, we're doing all lending library talks. So we've got the Simon Technology Center next week, the Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss the week after, the Star Lending Library the week after that, and the Region 3 Lending Library toward the end of November there. As you're thinking about moving forward, think about just one thing that you could do with this particular tool, or just one student who you think this might reach a little bit more, maybe for some increased engagement. And thanks everyone for attending and all the work you're doing. We know that this is not an easy time to be in education, and just know that the work that you do does not go unnoticed. We greatly appreciate it. You'll get a recording of this session, and don't hesitate to reach out to me at my email address there. So if any of you I know might have to take off for the day, but also just a reminder, I'll make sure that I hang around. I will stop the recording now. So if any of you were just holding your questions till we stop the recording, we'll do that now.